Hey, everybody, welcome to the Friday wrap up for May 1st, 2026 on the Streamline Solopreneur. This is a short episode where I talk about three things: what's on my mind, some recommended reading, and some recommended media. This is a show that helps you automate your business so you can take time off worry free. And hopefully, this curation will help you think more about your systems. I'm your host, Joe Casabona, and here's what's on my mind. The first is single use or single purpose apps. I went on Aggressively Human this week. This is my friend Jessica's podcast. The episode will be out later this month, but I went on there to talk about vibe coding and when solopreneurs and small business owners should do it. And I don't want to spoil too much from that episode. This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, particularly when solopreneurs should consider vibe coding. And if you don't know what vibe coding is, that is when you basically describe the app you want to create to generative AI and it writes the code for you. I have another episode where I talk more about this, especially after I coded my iOS app. And while I'm a developer, I have a developer background. I had never coded an iOS app before, so this was a very different experience for me. But what's on my mind this week is slightly different. It revolves around single purpose apps, that is, apps that serve one purpose, doing one thing really well. I've been really keen on these lately because more apps are adding more features, including AI features that are probably unnecessary to increase the perceived value to increase their monthly subscription fee. And so I want more of these single use apps, and presumably or ostensibly, maybe vibe coding gives us the opportunity to build these apps. I built one for the daily 3 task journaling, and I built another one that I'm not quite ready to talk about yet. I don't know if that's actually something, but it's something I'm interested in for sure. And I'm not the only one. My friend Mike Schmitz built an iOS app to solve a problem he has. And my friends Liz, Justin, Becky, and Jessica, and countless others have all done the same thing. They vibe coded a solution to a problem that one app was already solving, but was solving very expensively, or an app that didn't quite exist in the way they wanted it to. That's why I made the daily 3 task journaling app. There wasn't an app out there that would let you set 3 tasks per day and then update the statuses. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this. We have a simple need, and the cost for creating the app to solve that problem is much lower than paying some monthly subscription fee. I've thought about this with several other SaaS products I use. I use Senja to collect testimonials, but I don't collect testimonials that often, and I don't really know if it's worth the $30 a month. I have a bunch of other tools that do the same thing, and that's not to say that every tool I pay $30 a month for isn't worth it. I gladly pay for Tela and Ecamm and Notion. I semi gladly pay for Notion and Todoist. There are lots of apps that I happily pay for, but there are some where I pay for them because they solve the problem the best way, but not the best way for me. We do need to be careful, though, and this is the other part of what's on my mind, and really the main thing that I talked about on Aggressively Human. There's a fine line between a single purpose app that you're going to use yourself and building software that needs to be supported, and you need to be careful. This is why I haven't announced this other thing that I coded yet, because I don't know if this is going to be worth me doing it, and it does require other people to use it as well, and I just don't know if that's the business I want to be in. So that's what's on my mind this week. If you have thoughts about vibe coding and single purpose apps, write in at streamlinedfeedback.com and let me know. Now, recommended reading, my friend Cal, not Cal Newport, my friend Cal sent this article to me called "The Task Is Not the Job" by Luis Garasano. I'm going to say Luis Garasano. The premise is that the CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, went on Fox News to say AI will eliminate half of all entry-level white-collar jobs within 1 to 5 years. And this was followed by Mustafa Suleyman, CEO of Microsoft AI and author of The Coming Wave, a book I read last year that I felt was kind of alarmist, was even more aggressive, saying that professions like lawyers, accountants, project managers, and marketers will be replaced by AI in 12 to 18 months. 18 months. And I love this article because it's so nakedly obvious that these guys, Amodei and Suleiman and Sam Altman, they are only saying this because they have a massive vested interest in people believing that predictions like that will come true. But when you're arguing against this point, you can't just say that. I can't just say that's not true because these guys have a financially vested interest in this. Which is why Garasano brings proof of why it's not the case that we'll all be out of jobs in somewhere between 12 and 60 months. And I would encourage you to read the entire piece. It's really good. They have receipts, they have graphs. It's a very well researched thing. I'm going to read a few of my favorite quotes from it. So first, the premise of the article is that tasks are not the same as jobs, right? AI can do tasks, and that's not the same as doing a job. And so he says, as AI cheapens commodity production, real income rises and spending shifts towards the relational sector, teaching, care, hospitality, craft, and live performances, where the human element is part of what's being bought. Something I've been saying for a long time. AI can do computer things. It cannot replace the human thing. If I want to go see my favorite band play, I'm not going to want to see them press play on a CD player or a laptop. I'm going to want to see them actually play the songs. And so this article names a few durable jobs. Nurses and teachers are part of that. So my wife is a nurse, and I would like to qualify what I do as teaching mostly. And so I really like that quote. But here's the thesis, right? I have like two highlights here that are the thesis of this article. And the first is many jobs survive because firms don't buy isolated tasks. They buy bundles. And because organizations do more than process information, they allocate authority and settle conflicts. And AI can help with all of this. It does not follow that it can replace the people who can do it. He goes on to say, a job is a bundle of tasks, and the real question is not whether AI can perform one component of the bundle, it's whether that component can be separated from the rest at low cost. When the separation is cheap, the bundle is weak. AI takes a piece, the human role narrows, and labor losses share. When separation is expensive, the bundle is strong, and AI will help with part of the work. But the human still sells the full service and keeps a larger share of the revenue. He has lots of examples for this. One he mentions is, with the dot-com bubble, everyone thought that travel agents would lose their jobs. And a lot of them did. But, and here's a direct quote from the article again, something else happened to the agents who stayed. They moved up market, charged planning fees, and joined luxury consortia that offers upgrades and personalized itineraries. In 2000, the average weekly earnings at travel agencies were 87% of the private sector average. which means that the travel agencies made 87% of whatever the average. So if the average was 100,000, they were making 87,000. By 2025, they had reached 99%. The surviving agents earn more per hour than they used to, precisely because the machine took the weak part and left the strong ones. So yeah, so like if you're a travel agent, you can't just say, "Oh, I booked your flights, I booked your hotel." But we used a travel agent for our Italian honeymoon, and it was huge because I don't know anything about Italy, and I didn't have to worry anything about it. So that's where the human part comes in. There are a bunch of other quotes. I would really encourage you to read the entire article because I think it's very good. Um, he ends by saying, the real world is messy, and the mess is what happens when human beings with competing interests try to get things done together. This is not something that AI is suited to do. So the task is not the job. I'll link it in the show notes along with everything else. And the recommended media. If you are watching this on YouTube, you will know what that is already. But there is a new trailer out for Ted Lasso Season 4. Ted Lasso is one of my favorite shows, and I'm so stoked it's coming back. Much like when Scrubs came back, I was so happy. It's a show that, much like everything Bill Lawrence does, is just lots of happy levity with moments of gut-punching, emotional humanity, and I love it. It's a show that makes you feel good even when there are bad feelings. And so I absolutely love the show. It's coming back for a 4th season. I'm very excited for that. The trailer's out now. That's my recommended media for the week. Now, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to get more stuff like this, you can head over to streamlined.fm/wrap. I am also doing a newsletter of the Friday wrap up, so that'll come out every Friday. And I'm including something in the newsletter that is not necessarily included here in the episode because I want to keep these short. But I'm doing an automation of the week over there, or at least I'm trying it, and I'd love feedback on that. So I'll be highlighting an automation that I built or something interesting from the past week, something I've been using a lot. And so that'll be a newsletter exclusive. So you can sign up for that over at streamlined.fm/wrap. Streamlined.fm/wrap. But that is it for this episode of the Friday wrap up. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, I hope you find some space in your weekend.